say are all three of you?
And Mike just stay here.
Yeah, you guys can do that. Yeah, if there's another council member, they can fill in over there.
Okay.
Mayor, I don't
Junk
think
mail?
the council member is coming.
So yeah, you're all good right there.
Alright, that's cool.
That's not inundated.
Oh,
It's emails.
Here.
Thank you, Bryce. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the City of Norman City Council Finance Committee meeting on Thursday, December 18th, 2025. We're gonna flip the agenda a little bit and let Mr. Francisco go first, as his agenda item is currently number 2, but this is his last Finance Committee meeting ever, and he's in a rush to start retirement, so we will let him enjoy that by all means. So, starting with agenda item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and it's really gotta pick up my granddaughter for her basketball game, but anyway. So on the revenue and expenditure reports that are in your packet, I will just highlight the one thing that we had for the month of December that's not reflected here, is that we had a really good use tax collection month that got us back into the black for the fiscal year on use tax. So that was really good. Sales tax continues to be flat, but not inexorably so. It's like we're negative 0.5% for the year. So it's kind of like right on what we budgeted. What we budgeted is not good, but at least we're not below that. So I'll just try to respond to any questions that you might have on the revenue and expenditure reports. Yes, sir.
I'd still like to have a little bit of insight from the state about use tax and the confidence in allocating those funds down. I don't know who we contact in the state, but I'm just curious more than anything. I want that confidence that, hey, this system's operating at 95, 98% as far as flow that collection and flow.
Yeah, and all that I can say related to that is that companies and online retailers that are quote-unquote voluntarily complying, we're very confident that they are reporting properly. What we're not confident in is those retailers that are fitting through the loophole in the South Dakota versus Wayfair case, where if you have less than $100,000 worth of sales in the state, then you don't have to collect sales tax in the form of use tax and remit it to the city that you're delivering the goods to. And a lot of retailers we think might be over that $100,000 limit. A lot of retailers that, we would like to be collecting because we know that mechanically they can. But that's the concern with use tax, and so it's kind of a yes and no answer. But we're very confident that those that are complying correctly. We're not fully in compliance though.
I would think the state would be able to echo that and show, hey, we believe the ones that are at the 100,000 mark, that, yeah, there is a percentage that we're not collecting. And we think it's this because of this. They would have some type of procedures to give a health of that. I'm just curious more than anything else. Okay, what's the missed opportunity there, state, and what are you doing about it?
Yeah, it's just anecdotal because remember that if you're under that limit, you don't have to report at all. So the state tax commission has the same vested interest that we do, but they just don't know. And I don't think anybody can know how many retailers are out there that are just not reporting at all.
Okay. I think we should ask the question.
Absolutely.
Mayor Holman?
Yeah, just wanted to note looks like this was the second best so again about like how things can look in comparison to something. Last year was the best December that we've had in the last 8 budget years, going back to 2018 on this chart. And this December, reflecting October, was the second best that we've had in the last 8 years, only second to last year's. So it looks like it's down, which it is, but it's down compared to the best December that we've had in the last 8 years last year. So people see that something looks like it's a negative sales tax compared to, again, we have been seeing the last several years that we're comparing it to record and historic highs in some cases, and then still quite a bit higher right now than it was prior to 2020 on that chart. So that's my favorite chart to look at every month, because you can see the whole history going back to the FY 2019 budget. And so, and then, yeah, just on the city comparison and the state being down by 5% so far, over 5% so far, and that being just a interesting data point. And wondering why, if it's the grocery tax or.
I suspect that it is, and I think the grocery tax should start to, the year-over-year comparison will be, as of next month, I believe. That will start to wash itself out.
Okay. But yeah, always interesting.
Councilmember Gray?
When it comes to collecting that tax and knowing who's paying it and or not, how do we find that out? Like when somebody
Well, we know
needs to
who's
come to
reporting. I
compliance?
mean, if they make a report to the State Tax Commission, we have privy to that information. The concern is retailers that are not reporting at all because they're not collecting the tax and remitting it to the state, i.e. the city. So we have no way of knowing. But for example, if you have a new favorite retailer in, that's making purses and shipping them to Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin does not know that. Vice versa. If you're buying a purse from Wisconsin shipped to Norman, we have no way of knowing that, and nor to collect tax on it.
Thinking more locally,
It's a small retailer that we're talking about.
like how would you know if there are businesses in the city that weren't?
There's really no way to know. I mean, now how we should know is that they're delivering it. I mean, there is a zip code that we know that there's being delivered to. FedEx or UPS or somebody knows that they're making deliveries from that company. So that's how we should be able to collect it. When that retailer makes a delivery to this zip code, they should be collecting the tax and reporting at the rate that is applicable to that zip code. That's just not happening for the small retailers.
Okay. I was also thinking, just because we used to have an internal auditor that could kind of track down, maybe not in the small retail scheme of things, but I was thinking about how the grocery tax was like make sure people understand they're in compliance. I was thinking more like businesses in the city that aren't.
We'd have that ability.
Okay. All right, and then also I appreciate the overtime year-to-date reports. I heard somebody say that one of our departments wasn't line item, but I see that all over. Well, they were saying the public safety aspect for the police department, but I see it within the public safety sales tax fund, and I think there was like another section. General fund expenditure versus budget year to date. So that person was wrong. I definitely see it broken out. That was it for me, by the way.
Help me understand that, if you can, the discussion on overtime related to public safety.
There are employees who are being paid out of the public safety sales tax fund. And if they're being paid overtime, then it's being tracked in that overtime account. And so, yes, it would show up on this report.
So the account's 119. I guess it's page 36. I assume that's what it is. I don't know, but then I see transfer.
Yeah, it starts at page 36, and you see the top left, the fund number is 15. That's the public safety sales tax fund. So everything on that page will be in the PSST.
And each line represents a separate division within that department. So as Councilmember Grant was saying, this report does reflect every division in every department. That has salaries, I should say, anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say page 35 has that breakdown of staff services, 911, special investigations, animal control, police administration, criminal investigations, patrol, and then,
And that's all in the general fund.
yes.
Down there
then-
toward the bottom of that page, you see where it says total general fund? That is all the overtime expenditures in the general fund for those divisions. And then Fund 15 starts there, just below the general fund.
Yeah, and then page 36 is when you get into the public safety sales tax. Anyways, I appreciate that.
See no further questions?
I just have, oh, sorry. So I keep hearing about overtime as it relates to safety and security. And so if someone wanted to look at the hours, not dollars, but hours, is it on here someplace?
It's not gonna be on here. This is just tracking expenditures.
Does anyone know in the room if you know, that, you know, I'm remiss in not answering, asking this question in the past, as far as, you know, there's a concept of, hey, you've got too much overtime. This guy's got too much he needs crew rest. Military, he's passed. He or she has passed the amount of authorized overtime by individuals. They're exceeded. He's unsafe. She's unsafe. Is there such a thing here related to police or fire?
That would be really up to the supervisors. And yes, they would have privy to that information at the employee level, how much overtime they're using. And we can pull up that information in the payroll system, but that's not public information, how much an individual is using.
I guess what I'm really asking, I'll have to ask the chiefs, hey, is there internal policy related to crew rest? You can only have 3 days or whatever it is, you know. Some organizations have that. Military has that for sure. Fire, safety, flight crews.
I can't answer that.
I think the union would probably have something to do with that. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
Good question to ask.
For transparency, we have no dealings with the union as council. We're not to interfere in the employment decisions of anybody but our, was internal auditor, city attorney, and city manager.
I think that's great, that's what it should be, but it's also good to get informed from the union.
For some extra context, it's fire, police, utilities, and parks that are our identified overtime.
Main ones.
Yeah.
Main users. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Francisco.
Thank you.
If you need to leave, you're welcome. Okay, we have the Lieutenant and Major from the Salvation Army. I didn't catch your name, sir, so I'll let you all introduce yourselves for the record, but item 1 is a discussion regarding the Salvation Army shelter expansion. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
I'm Lieutenant Corey Doggett. My wife and I, we're the pastors here. We've been here for 2.5 years. Pass it on to Mike.
You can. And I'm Mike Justice, and I lost my medallion that keeps me letting you know who I am. And I've been with the Salvation Army starting 12 years, February 1st. And I work all things development for Cleveland County, McLean County. So I'm going to take the first part of this presentation, but I'll let you introduce yourself and I'll come back.
Sure. So I'm Major Paul Ryerson. I'm the area commander for Central Oklahoma. So my office is in Oklahoma City, but the 5 Central Oklahoma counties fall under my command. And so I'm excited to be here today and the opportunity. And then behind us, actually, we have Kurt here. But
Kurt Lee.
Kurt is I want you to tell Kurt, introduce yourself and what your role is.
Current chair of Salvation Army, Cleveland and McLean Counties, 2-year board member, current chair, first year. I just work here locally and help as I can.
Yeah. So he's chairman of our board here in Cleveland County. McLean. So thanks for being here, man.
I really don't know anything about your organization, so this is gonna be educational for me. So when you say board chair, so is it board chair So it's like,
Like a nonprofit, like any nonprofit would have a board of advisors or a board of trustees. We have a board of advisors, and Kurt here is the chairman of our board of advisors.
so, but you're also a check and balance related to process and procedures and protocols and stuff like that. as a
Yes.
board. So you're a responsible accountable official.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, we're gonna talk a little bit about the board structure here in a minute, so yeah.
So I'll start off. We'll have three parts of the presentation. We'll keep it in our time frame. We have an introduction, which I'll have, and then we'll have a programs and services section and a little bit of statistics. And then we'll talk to you a little bit about our new build, our remodel, and our expansion of our shelter. First of all, we, like you, we have a local advisory board of citizens, business leaders that guide our discussion every month, and if it doesn't pass there and get approved, it doesn't really go anywhere. So we're really locally led, although we have accountability all the way up, and I'll talk a little bit about that. We have had a office building and a shelter and a feed program since 1892 here. We've had a presence, one of the quietest, humblest presence that you can have. But we've been sheltering and turning on the lights for the citizens and the people of Cleveland County since 1892. And so we're really going to talk a little bit about that, but our motto is doing the most good. And our clientele is usually those people that are in poverty, need a hand up, and or shelter. And sometimes we say soup, soap, and salvation. But we don't diminish salvation at the end of it, but we're soup and soap. Before they ever hear anything else, they get some soup and soap, and they're always happy to do that. Many of our clients are in the community. They just at a level that they're not in shelter. They don't need shelter. They just need assistance. So we'll talk a little bit about that also. So we do service Cleveland and McLean County, and so that's since
The arrow button.
excuse me, yeah, right here.
There you go.
Yeah, this will tell you a little bit about our mission. We are an international movement, and I've traveled for the Salvation Army around the world, and it looks just like it does here. Many of our officers, they might have a yellow uniform on or a white uniform, but we are Army based, just like an Army. We have lieutenants and captains and majors and lieutenant colonels, and they earn their ranks, and they are full-time 24/7. I'm not. I'm a professional person. Not that they're not professional, but I'm more in the professional line, and I probably get to go home occasionally at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But they might get a call at 6 o'clock in the evening and start another day that they've already had. Hardworking individuals, servants' hearts, not self-promoting at all. So great leaders. So we are a Christian organization based on the Bible, and we're just motivated to love people, motivated by God to love people. Our mission is to preach the gospel, and we do it often without saying a word, just giving a cup of cold water, giving shelter, giving food, giving utilities, guiding them in crucial services where they need guidance, removing barriers, helping them to find more hope when they feel hopeless. That's kind of who we are. We do it without discrimination. In the 11 years I've been here, there's no one we turn down. There's no one we turn down. We give them some type of help in every single way. The best people to ask about our mission and what we do are ourselves. Everybody said, and someone said to me today, well, do you do anything besides Christmas bells and ring bells? And I said, well, you'll have to ask. We're 24/7 all year long. So poverty, shelter, food never stops for people. And so we're there 24/7. This is just part of what we do. It's only one revenue stream of 7 or 8 that we try to have. I'll talk a little bit about that. Yes, sir.
Quick question, what I hate is your officers take oaths.
Do they take what?
An oath. They have an
Nope.
oath for
We
commission.
sign a covenant, yeah.
Covenant. It's an
Yeah,
oath.
yeah, so instead of an oath, but we do have a covenant, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir, yeah.
So you say non-discriminate, okay, so anyone.
Anyone.
So if I'm Baha'i
anyone.
Can do.
If you need shelter, if you need food, and we'll talk a little bit about shelter, because that's particular, and people have questions, well, who can come to shelter? How long can they stay? We're gonna answer those questions
Yeah.
in depth.
What if it's just someone, no, yeah. So anyone,
Anyone,
someone just needs, hey, I need to talk to someone.
anyone. You'll find them on our property and we'll talk with them. Yeah, they are why we are there. We're not there we're there to remove every barrier we can and help them move on to hope and stability. And we've been doing that here since 1892. And I will jump ahead and just say this, that I'll take a question because I see one.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about sex offenders, because to my knowledge, there are no green zones in Norman.
Yeah, if you don't mind, we'll cover that in depth in the next section, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, we will, and when I say no discrimination, there are a few light rules that we have, and they're well-known, and so we're glad to answer those questions.
And some are legal requirements as well.
Yeah, some of them are legal requirements, especially about sex offenders.
Right.
We work off, and I think this is good to know, a lot of organizations are 1 level deep, 2 level deep. You'll see here we're 4 level deeps. So we have a local advisory board. If they don't affirm it going forward, it won't go forward. It's what they need to do in their community, what we have support to do, what we have funding to do in Cleveland and McLean counties. Then it's sent to this central Oklahoma and Oklahoma City, and they approve it and embellish us to get that done even further by their approval. Strong agreement is strong agreement in every community. And then we go, if it's a financial issue or an issue of policy, it'll go up to division, which is in Atlanta. The Salvation Army has 4 territories in the United States. We're in the,
Oklahoma.
excuse me, yeah, the division is Oklahoma, Arkansas, Oklahoma.
Right.
And then we have a territory, which is the Southern Territory of the United States. So some decisions go up on a Tuesday and they might come down on a Wednesday, but they go up the chain and down the chain. Well-oiled machine, been around 160 years doing soup, soap, and salvation. So that's a little bit about that. I think that it's important to say to you that we have a $1.3 million budget a year, and that every bit of that is paid by your citizens of Cleveland and McLean counties. If they don't pay for it, we don't do it. We don't have money outside of what they give us. So we feel very blessed to have the support of this community. And yes, sir.
So I want to get that in mind. So that $1.3 million,
Yes, sir.
the footprint is Cleveland and McLean County.
All of that money is spent right here. What's raised here stays here. That's pretty impressive. What's raised here stays here. It's not like a business that might raise it here and send it off to home office. They pay a very small, maybe 17 cents of any dollar, and most of that 17 cents still stays here, pays some bills, and then some goes to division. But 17 cents on the dollar is a wonderful nonprofit to have. If you give $1 for disaster in this community, 100% is spent in that disaster here.
I'm more curious than anything else, not at the individual level, but at the organizational level. Do you have organizations that give you funding?
Yes, businesses, foundations, all of that 1.3 is from an individual, a business, a corporation, United Way.
Yeah. Right.
Yes,
Partners.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say very little of that is government funding.
Yeah.
I think our contribution's 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I'll move
Yeah.
on through that. I would say, and I'm about done with my portion of it. I want to stress a couple of things. First of all, we are grateful to the citizens of Cleveland and McLean counties for their faithful donations. However so small, many of ours are small, but they're faithful. And so we represent them when it comes to feeding the poor, housing the poor, helping people with utility services, support services, and we're really proud of that. We are also want to stress that we're 24/7, never goes away. Someone is there at our facilities 24/7 for the last 132 years, representing you. So I'd like to turn it over to our local officer and Lieutenant Corey.
Next slide. Can I ask a question real quick before we
Yes.
go? Of the $1.3 million, how many total donations is that? Do you have that?
It's a great
quantified,
question.
Or is that, I mean, I'm sure it's corporate and individuals and there's a huge composite of it, but do you guys have any idea of what that looks
Yeah.
like in that way?
We consider a major donor $2,500 or more a year, and we probably have 40 or 50 of those.
Okay.
Okay? And some of those are much higher scale than the 2,500, but we have a thousands of small donations of $10 to $25 per month.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions before I pass it on?
Please continue.
So we just wanted to show you guys a little bit of the chain of command. So anytime my wife and I have something that we want to present to our board, such as we did here recently, we're trying to get some projects off the ground. We just got one approved this past Monday at a Central Area Command's board meeting on Monday, and Kurt brought that agenda to our sister board in Oklahoma City to get that approved by the board there. We are gonna start by renovating the outside of our shelter first. We got brand new roofs this last January on both our admin building and our shelter. They started it in the middle of a snowstorm last year, caused some fire department issues with all of our sprinkler systems and stuff. But we got that undertaken. We are gonna seal up some moisture issues, and so they're gonna come and clean the exterior of our shelter really well, seal it up properly, put new windows, new storefront in the front of our shelter, and get all that up to par so that we can start the renovations on the inside and keep everything safe as that's going on. But it shows you, it starts with us bringing an issue to our local advisory council, and then bringing that to the board, which is with the majors, and they'll bring it before their board and they'll approve that. And then, so it's actually sitting on the divisional commander's desk right now in a system that we call TSAM. It's the Salvation Army System Management System, and that will be reviewed by another board at Divisional Finance, where they will prove where we have the money in our bank account to pay for that. And they'll review minutes from our council, minutes from our advisory board to make sure that that was approved properly, so that we're spending the citizens' money correctly for the Salvation Army. And so the majors will sit around a table very similar to this. They'll talk about it. They'll discuss the account that it's coming from, look at the financials live. They'll look at pictures, whatever's attached to that to prove the need, and then they'll vote on that, and that will get shipped up the stream to territorial headquarters, and it usually goes to them on a Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they review that. And then Thursday, they will vote on that and they give the approval for those things. So it just shows you everything starts here locally, and then it gets vetted right up the stream. You can go to the next slide. And then just like Mike talked about, we're donor funded. The money that's raised stays here. Even at a national level, I'm sure you guys have seen the Salvation Army commercials, of course, this time of the year, talking about the red kettles. Anytime money is donated online or with a credit card, that money is coded via zip code, and then it is sent right back to our bank account. We actually bank with Bank First here in town. They do a wonderful gift in kind every year and count all of our kettles for us, so we don't have to bring in volunteers to count those kettles, and it just brings more transparency when we don't have a bunch of hands touching money. And then here's our impact card. This is just year to date so far through November. We closed out November on December the 12th this month, and this shows our total person served, which is on target for where we're normally at, which is 4,700. Our meals served. So one of the things I want to talk about with that is we're the only place consistently feeding the community every single night. And so when we have Thanksgiving meals, we project how many people we're going to do for the community, and we're open 365 days a year for that. So anybody experiencing any financial difficulty, they don't have to prove it. They can just show up, sit down at a table, and have a free meal right there in our shelter. And then we do food boxes out of our food pantry over at our social service office. And then you can see our numbers are at 1,293. Our nights of shelter are up to where they should be this year. We're projected to see a little bit more. I think we projected it within 900 to 1,000 more nights, depending on the people coming in and out. And then emergency financial assistance, that's what we do in our office as well, whether it's utilities or handing out gift cards for something. And then clothing items, that's another interesting thing that we do. So we get a lot of coats, clothes, socks, shoes, those kind of things in our front office. But we also are able to, with our thrift store, we partner with them and we give out vouchers for clothing. So if somebody's house burned down, they can come down and get a voucher to go get clothing from our thrift store. It's a voucher, $25 a person. It doesn't sound like a lot, but at a thrift store, it goes pretty fast or pretty far. Where at Walmart, you might get a package of shirts for that price. But it helps get people the essential things they need in the immediate. But we wanted to share with you guys what our impact is there. Go to the next slide.
Sorry, I can just show up and say I need a meal.
Do what?
I can just show up and say I need a meal.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could show up and play dominoes tonight at dinner with the shelter guests and have a meal with them.
Do you know of anyone, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking that there's some NPAs that are out there that their job's transportation, right? That's what I specialize in. That's my niche. As an NPA, I'm a transporter. And I don't know how many there are. There might be 5 or 6 as far as continuing with you. I don't know. But I'm just thinking of if I'm out in someplace and I need to get there, I'm calling one of these NPAs that do transport, say, hey, can you give me a ride? So from your end, do you see that? Do you see people coming in from an NPA that's driving someone in need to your guys' area?
Yeah, we see that all the time. We have people that bring folks in for that. So a lot of people take advantage of the city's bus system. I've lived in a lot of major cities where the buses weren't free, and that's a beautiful thing about Norman is you can get on a bus and go about anywhere. My family has actually ridden those to see how the system works, so that we can tell people, this is what happens when you go to the bus station and those kind of things. So
You got a bus stop next to you guys?
we do just right down the store. It's right down by the liquor store and the marijuana shop. Yeah.
Norman police regularly understand and bring all day, time of the night, bring guests to us. And, there's a working relationship there. They feel very comfortable bringing those that need housing.
And then we wanted to touch base on our shelter.
Sir, one sec. Councilmember Grant had a question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
That is about the shelter. Can we go back to the impact card?
Uh-huh.
So I was looking at 9,465 nights of shelter divided by 335 since we're about 30 days off because you don't have December. So that roughly looks like 28.25 or 28 people, 29 people, 30-ish people a night. Is that typically what you're seeing? I know that another card said you could have up to 40, and then when I skipped ahead, the current capacity looks to be 38.
Yeah, so we do have up to 40 beds, and that is what we usually see. The number is a little bit different is because we have 3 family units, and typically out of those 3 units, we have 1 room that stays open most of the time. And that room, we actually sometimes on an average night, we have at least 1 family room available. And nights like tonight, when it's going to get below 32 degrees, we sometimes will turn that family room into a flex room so that we can safely house females in that room. And then we'll open up the center area where we have dinner for males on cots. But we try to keep women behind locked doors so that the monitors, if you take your eyes off of somebody, something can happen at any second. So we try to keep everybody separate.
So usually winter and inclement weather is when you see a bump where you're at max
Right.
capacity.
Yeah. And we can have up to 48 people in our facility, according to the fire marshal, when we're on emergency situations. So.
Are you doing all 48 when it's weather like this?
Yeah, when it's weather like this, we're maxed out and we're turning people away. So
thank you. I was just curious
Yeah,
about
Good question.
breakdowns.
yeah, good question. So,
The, is the shelter space in Norman, is that the only one, or is there one in McLean County also somewhere?
no, that's the only one we have, so.
And so you work with Norman PD, are there other Cleveland County and McLean area police departments that also bring folks to
Yeah,
that
we,
shelter?
we frequently see, more police department, sheriff's department brings people by on occasion. I would say the biggest agency would be the Norman Regional Hospital, system is constantly dropping folks off.
We do have the availability that if it got to that we could partner with our sister organization. If they have rooms available, which they have a much bigger facility, we can transport there.
Yeah, talking about ours.
Yes,
So we have 130 ours.
130 beds there.
The new one in Oklahoma City, is that the one?
It's
Yeah.
10 years old, 10 or 11 years old.
Newish one, okay.
Yeah.
And so, we wanted to kind of just clear the room with who are we? Our Red Shield shelter, we consider it a low barrier shelter. An ID is not required to stay in our shelter. Case management is not mandated. While case management is there for those who are available, case management does not hinder you from staying 60 days in our shelter. Convicted felons are also permissible on property as long as those are not fall in that sex offender category, which we'll talk a little bit about that. And also, since we are a church, we do not require any of our shelter guests to go to the church or partake in religious activities if they don't want to. That's not something that we push on those. We usually see about anywhere from 2 to 5 people from our shelter every morning on Sunday mornings, but when that goes, that's usually about that. So
I just,
Good question.
so, let's say I'm Baha'i or Hindu. So, no religious activity required.
right, correct,
I can be an atheist.
right,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's, in any Salvation Army facility, there's no requirement ever to be, or religious activity is never a requirement to receive any services at any facility. Now, just by the nature of our mission, we're gonna have a Sunday service, in a chapel or something like this. But it's not a requirement for anyone to attend it, or it doesn't hinder further service if you don't attend it. But it's there, it's there. And so that's the same here in Norman as it is in Oklahoma City, and anywhere.
And just to be clear, Councilmember Brewster, we're having this discussion to talk about the updates of the shelter, not to qualify Salvation Army for religious purposes or anything because they don't receive money from the city. So we're not discriminating in that way.
Well, I get it, I didn't know. And it was a fair question you asked, 'cause I didn't know.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking it.
Yeah, it is. And I think there's probably sometimes an assumption of these things just because we're a faith-based organization. And it's a fair question, but it's never been a requirement to receive or to have religious activities as a part of service. And also as far as to discriminate, we don't discriminate. Any person, regardless if it's staying at the shelter, if it's staying or coming to get a food box or anything at all, we don't even know how someone would choose to identify or choose to believe or choose to do, because we don't ask them. Like, it's not on the application, it's not a part of the process. So being an atheist or maybe someone who identifies with a certain community or anything at all, we wouldn't know unless they disclose that to us on their own free will. But it's never a part of our intake process, it's not a part of our questionnaire or anything like that. And so when we open up, it's really just based on, two things. Based on need and based on, do we have the resource? Does the resource exist? Can we do it, right? And if we can do it, then we'll do it. Yeah.
Councilmember Grant?
Yeah, just curious, since we were touching on data and populations, do you all use HMIS?
Yes. Yep.
So you're kind of just, what are you using your HMIS system to do?
Answer that.
We just use that to to share with the other partner agencies what we're doing with continuum care. So they use it for like, Heidi, you could probably explain it a little bit more. I don't actually use the system myself. Our shelter monitors
I don't think
use
you guys use
it.
it for shelter attendants because you've never gotten shelter money.
Right.
But it was when they were receiving ESG funds specifically around prevention and rapid rehousing. So they would enter people in that are getting
Right.
prevention and rapid rehousing resources, and they might give, I don't think they enter an HMI, I would have to look to see if they're doing shelter per night in HMIS.
We
here.
did when we received those kind of funds, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still use it. We push it, and I know every time we hire a new shelter employee, they go through the training on how to do that. So we have we do keep that up to date.
So the continuum can take a look at the data that is coming from their shelter.
Depending on what the data is, but specifically ESG data, yes. And that's emergency solutions grant money. They received that during COVID.
Right.
But they did not choose to apply for it in the last cycle.
Okay. Thank you. Just
You're
curious how
welcome.
that works
Good
for
question.
y'all.
You ready?
And this, did you go to the next slide or?
I did.
Okay. So this shows a little bit about our shelter and the services that we do. We have 40 beds available. That's women, men, and families. We're the only emergency shelter for families in Norman, which makes us a little unique. We do provide 2 meals a day. We provide breakfast and dinner for our shelter guests. And we also provide laundry services. We've actually used when we first got here, we used that $10,000 grant to help purchase commercial equipment for washing machines and dryers because they were going out when we got here. We do have guest showers and hygiene products provided daily. Our women's auxiliary keeps us stocked up with stuff for people to brush their teeth and take showers. And then, so if you want 60+ day stay with case management plans, so people can stay up to another 60 days if they have a plan and we're working with their mental health provider or working with food and shelters case managers, or they have a voucher from the Norman Housing Authority and we're on track for somewhere and we're working towards that. That continues to extend their stay up to 60 days. And we even go further than that. We're not going to put somebody on the street because they've stayed their 60-day, 120-day stay and they got 3 weeks left before they're getting into their housing. And then case management is available. And then community dinner is available for anyone in the community 7 days a week. And then we wanted to share a little bit of a list that's more exhaustive than this, but these are just a few of our community partners that help make it possible to do what we do. Because OU's food kitchen actually provides about 90% of our food at our shelter. We're a warming shelter the way our kitchen is set up currently. So we currently take that food from OU and put it in a warmer and we serve it. And the school takes care of all that. And then when the school is out and dismissed, that's when we transport food safely from Oklahoma City, from the major kitchen to here. And so we just work with the kitchen staff there to provide that as well. And then I'm gonna actually hand this over to the major. But before we start talking about our facilities, go ahead.
You know, I think I understand your financial controls, the chain of command and your managerial controls. I don't understand your internal process controls and how you flow goodness, best in class, down to your line level officers, your line level units. How does that work?
So how to empower them to do what they're doing? Or?
So I'm thinking you're a big organization. You're a huge international
Yeah.
organization.
Right.
There's some people that really have a particular system that's best in class for a site. How do you share that knowledge with the field units?
Yeah, no, there's definitely certainly best practices and best in class that are shared among Salvation Army nationwide. But I will tell you this, is that the way that the Salvation Army is structured, long time ago, the Army just decided that because of our size and we were growing and expanding at a rate, right now the Salvation Army serves every zip code in the United States. Well, in order for us to remain effective to our local communities, to serve what's best here, because while how Norman looks Salvation Army doesn't necessarily mean that that's how even Oklahoma City or Ardmore or anyone else needs to look like that, because it may not be the same needs, right? And so that's where a lot of these guys come in.
Yep.
So this is where our local advisory board members here who come and sit on the board and they advise what the Salvation Army should be addressing in our local community. And so our role, certainly at my level, is to be listening to them and then to empowering these guys to go to meet the needs and then get them resources, of course, to try to meet those needs. And then the best practices just come from, of course, we have a shared unity as far as communication on what we're seeing, what works and what doesn't work. But then that's really is, I kind of joke around and say we're like one of the biggest, smallest nonprofits, because all of our funding is completely local. We don't have a corporate bank account.
I like to say we're a bottom-up organization. Where
Yeah.
larger corporations like what we might be considered are top-down. The only thing that's top-down is how you handle
Policy.
paperwork and policy
Policy.
and procedures so
Yes.
that they're succinct everywhere.
That's what I want to hit on there. So I'm talking operational procedures for your units.
Yeah,
So I mean, the financial control, managerial control,
I got you.
operational procedures. Because to me, that unit, that size, organization that size, there is hey, this is the preferred orthodox route to handle this function,
Yeah, I
Right.
got you.
Right.
and then
Yeah.
it's audited.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Does that
we
make
have a
sense?
minute book,
Times
how
a
we
year.
handle that.
We have a minute book, how we handle that.
We're audited 3 times a year.
Our minute book has policies and procedures. They take so like, just as an example, they take every make and model for 2025 and they bring it to territorial headquarters of everything that they want to approve vehicle-wise that the Salvation Army can purchase. And they say, you can buy one model of Toyota Sienna,
I'll
one
tell you
model
about
of Honda Odyssey, and you can, there's 3 sedans that you can choose from. Here's the make,
Yeah.
model, and these
I know
are
too.
what are vetted,
Yeah.
and you cannot purchase anything over that price.
Yeah.
And so they kind of bring those rules into us, and
Yeah.
those are all vetted by the commissioners.
Yeah.
I got one more, and then I'll get off the subject. I'm really curious about this. So, are you able to tell when an organization is out of variability for assistance with their operational procedures?
Like if a local unit's out of policy, you mean?
Out of variability,
Yeah.
they're out of availability,
Can you tell? Oh, yeah. We get-
There are multitudes of checks and balances, unlike maybe a smaller nonprofit. There are levels of checks and balances.
Let me just answer that by saying I'm audited minimum twice a year.
Right.
So sometimes 3 depending on the year.
So audit,
There's 2 are internal, 1's external.
so you guys kind of talk my language. Are you guys audited for your mission central tasks?
We're audited finance and policy. Yeah, so spending money and then internal policies, yeah. So there's,
And I might say that this may be too much information, but you look like you might like it. All of our facilities across Arkansas, Oklahoma, which is our division, I think we have 22 campuses and we have 52 storefronts in other cities. And I said that to say that, they have forms of audits that go on regularly. So they're very tight machine, which makes us financially accountable in a very strong way.
Yeah.
Doesn't allow you to make some
right.
loosey-goosey decision. It needs to fall within the guidelines.
I understand, I get it, and then at the operational level, there are controls, and you're within variability, and you take action when you're not. I get it.
So moving into the next section,
Yeah.
if we don't have any more questions.
Sure, we'll
So,
talk about shelter.
Before I hand it over to the major, I just wanted to explain, so when my wife and I got here, we were looking at a $12 million capital campaign project that we just simply could not afford. It was a dream at the most. It included a shelter, a new shelter, renovation of the shelter, a new community center down at the end of the block. There was just so much money to be raised, and we had to step back and look at our blueprints and say, what does our community really need right now? We really need to do what we do well. We do dinner really well. We're the only nonprofit that does that every single night. So we need to focus on the kitchen and the dining hall so we can service our community well. And we also need to take our shelter and we need to do it really well. And so we decided we're going to renovate that. So I'll pass that over to the
Yeah.
major to talk about that.
Yeah. Is it, Is it okay if I stand up over here so I can see everybody? Okay. I feel like it's gonna be behind me and I just wanna make sure I can see everybody. Yeah, okay, here we go. Well, I wanna truly say thank you for allowing us to be here. We are humbled that you've given up space in your committee meeting to allow us to come and share what it is that we do. And where my role, where I sit in my chair, is quite local as well. My office is in Oklahoma City, but I live in Cleveland County, so I live in Moore. So this is very prevalent to me as well. And my jurisdiction, if you will, is just the central Oklahoma area. So I'm not worried about a state or anything at the higher level. That's not me. I just care about right here in central Oklahoma. So everything that's happening in Norman is of my great concern, and something that what we call our area command board takes very seriously because it's a part of who we are as well. The lieutenants here, they have the joy of just serving this community, and they get to focus full time on Norman and of course McLean County and Cleveland County, and this is their world. This is what they focus on, and they advocate and they serve and they just give 110% to this community. And I want to share with you on a building project that I know you're not a stranger to. I have been serving in this role for about 6 months now. I received transfer orders this last summer to come from here into Oklahoma City into this position. I've been a Salvation Army officer for 15 years though, serving in various capacities. And when I first got here, this project was on my desk first week, and we've been talking about it nonstop since with progress. And so we thought that this would be a good time to come and just share a little bit about kind of where we are, right? Now, as the lieutenant had said here just a moment ago, it did about 5 or 6 years ago when we started talking about a building project and getting everything off the ground. You know, we did the initial thing is we kind of started small first. Let's just tackle that. And then the board and everyone said, well, if we're bringing in an architect and we're doing that, well, let's dream a little bit first, right? And so we made a dream, and we put down a dream on a piece of paper, and we looked at and what that dream, and it's a beautiful dream that we're not giving up on, but instead of just going all in on it, we're going to phase it out. And so this dream was about $12 million, and it's going to include new kitchens, it's going to include shelter space. It was going to expand certainly our square footage and our impact as well. Now, over the course of the last several years, as our board's been looking at it, as we're doing feasibility studies, as we're looking at, okay, what can we actually do? Because there's a dream and then there's actual reality, right? What can we actually do? Now, we've taken that for the last 6 months and we said, okay, this is what we can actually do. So we're not gonna stop dreaming, but now we're gonna look at the part of the dream that we can do right now. And that's what I wanna show you, is the part of the dream that we can do right now. And then as we start this phase and we go into this part of the dream, we're not gonna give up on the other one because we know it needs to happen. But I think this footing will allow us to also get critical needs that we know are existing right this moment to get that started. And then we can expand and we can grow. And so we're looking now at 3 phases, and we're just gonna look at phases 1 and 2. Now we have 3 in here just so you can dream with us. We don't want you to stop dreaming either, because I know the citizens of this community are your people. They're the same ones that we're serving, and they're your people too, and we know you see the needs. So don't stop dreaming and don't give up on us. But I'm gonna tell you that here's where we're at. So if you wanna go into the next slide there. So this right here, this is gonna be phase 1. So this is what we're actually working on right now. And when I say right now, I say we are in the high level phases of getting this project officially approved and off the ground. So I'm crossing, I don't wanna say anything in writing because you know how building projects are, you know what I'm saying? You know how this is, you know that, but if we stay on track and we're checking all the boxes, and I'm meaning the biggest box is gonna be, okay, do we have cash in bank to actually break ground? That's gonna be our biggest one, and we're working with the builder, we're working with the architect, we're working with them right now to get that number. But if everything is on all cylinders going, we're hoping to break ground sometime in February.
We don't build unless we have money first.
And that is Salvation Army policy. We don't put a shovel on the ground unless we are fully funded 100%. We don't take mortgages. We don't put a mortgage in, we don't lend or borrow money. We gotta have it fully funded before we break ground. And so that's the biggest piece of the puzzle right now. So, but right now we're tracking that way to where we feel good and comfortable with that. But this is what we're looking at, is this section right here. This would all be new construction. So this is our campus right now in Norman. And this is existing, that's existing, that's existing. Right now, this is kind of a lot of land with some parking lot, but this will be the new build. That's gonna be the dining facility that we would immediately be able to expand our dining room services and our meals. And an additional space up here as well. So all of this will be dining. So that's phase one. And if, we get that going, and I feel like if we can even continue our fundraising efforts, which we are. Actually, why don't you go to the next one? Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
This is what the inside of phase one looks like. So this will be the dining facility once, it's built and all that sort of thing. It kind of gives you a peek in the inside. It's a multi-purpose space as well. So now besides just serving meals in the kitchen, we'll be able, because right now it's a serving kitchen is what we have. In other words, the meal is made off site and then is delivered and then we serve it. That's why OU Kitchen was amazing. I mean, partnering with us at a wonderful level. They've been able to help really make this a reality as far as other partners as well. This actually puts in a full commercial kitchen where we can make hot meals on site. We can meet that need right there. We can hire staff to come and actually start serving, cooking hot meals. This is a multi-purpose space, meaning that all these tables and chairs will be great for mealtime, but then once the temperatures drop, we can convert this space into additional cots, additional areas where we can bring people in. So this is gonna be multi-purpose, multi-usage space. I'm gonna go to the next slide there. Now this right here is our existing shelter, but this is gonna be a part of the first and second phase. This would be phase two. This is our existing shelter, but this is where our serving kitchen is at the moment in that shelter. Well, since we'll be building the new one, we don't need that space anymore used for that. So it's gonna be repurposed for additional family areas, rooms, and beds. So we'll be actually able to add, I think we have it in here. And then is it the next slide, or maybe is this one is that phase three? Yeah, that's right there. Go to the next one. Yeah, that one. Oh, you're not controlling the thing. Here you are. Can you go to the next one? I was like, that's the one. Yes, that one. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, they look good on your computer. So once we do that full renovation, when we can actually move out of the serving kitchen there, this will be what the new capacity would look like once we get through phase two and that sort of thing. So. Now go back to phase three, which is the one slide before that one. This is phase three, so this is the dream, all right? So this was the dream, and the most expensive part of that $12 million build was this section. Now this is a full-blown additional new square footage of shelter space for men, women, families. That's the dream. That's the big ticket thing. So instead of just putting the whole thing on pause, and saying until we can get $13 million raised, let's phase it out because we know these other ones are critical needs that need to be met now. So that's why we're phasing it, and we're gonna do 1 and 2, and we're gonna continue living the dream as resources and availability comes up. If you wanna go to the next slide, go to the next one.
Councilmember Grant? Yes.
I do have a couple of questions, just
Yeah.
because I'm aware of the Porter overlay, which is a zoning thing.
Yeah.
When you were coming up with these designs, were you working with the planning department about that overlay district and the requirements?
Yeah, I mean, yes, our builder and architect and all the ones who have put all this together, actually, the builder has already got these permitted and approved through the city.
Okay.
Yeah,
Phase
so
1 and 2 are approved.
phases 1 and 2 are permitted and approved at the city.
So, it's not like coming to us for like a spot or small planned unit development or some kind of zoning moving forward?
Yeah,
No,
no.
all zoning has been,
Yes.
we're not changing zoning, and we had to do some lot platting and combining, and that's all been done.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're not asking you for any money.
We're not asking for any money.
And I just asked because I'm familiar with the thing for buffer walls, and so this is something I've heard about from residents. I believe I talked to
Lieutenant Corey.
about this, but it was somebody on Mosier, but I do know there's like that tract of land that has been raised and question mark on what might be built there as well.
Which
so.
tract of land would you be for? At the very end
Off
of
of
the,
Hayes between
Oh,
Robinson.
the lot in between across the
Yeah.
street.
Right.
So anyways, I was just kind of
There is a
curious.
question that will be what's gonna be built there, yeah, that's for sure. We don't own that land, but,
I don't think we should put a liquor store
well, and
or a marijuana shop next to a shelter. I mean, that, I mean, I don't know.
there is already one next door, you're right, and I would agree with that, yeah.
Is there an ordinance related to liquor store or,
It's handled by the state.
is there an ordinance? Or,
The state controls where marijuana and liquor goes. So
There are no
the state
restrictions to
statute,
shelters, I don't think.
yeah,
just the school restrictions?
and a church, I think.
and churches, which we do have, but, yeah.
Anyways, that was
Yeah,
just my
no, good
question. Is
question,
that
yeah,
Questions?
good questions.
Something, so there's an ordinance to churches?
Yes,
There
there is
is.
churches for alcohol, yes.
I didn't know that. So
Yeah,
what is it?
Well, it's probably,
I think it's 1,500
being
feet.
across the street, it's probably gonna be okay. But
Yeah.
I'd have to have somebody else
Yeah,
legally
I'd
look
have
at
to dive
that.
into the weeds in that too.
Yeah, we can check on that.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
still gonna open up 24/7, no matter what's across the street.
It's just, okay, question, so what happens, because I don't know, I mean,
Uh-huh. Good question.
you guys got a liquor store right next door, right?
We do,
I
yeah.
mean, so what happens if there's a violation with that? What happens? Is your grandfathered in? Is the liquor store grandfathered in?
I don't know.
it opened there
Well, they opened up.
after.
What
In
we
January or
normally
something
tell
like
people
that?
on a regular basis when they call us to say, hey, there's a problem on that land, we say, you know what, we don't own our people and we don't own that land. We stops right here at the curb. So we would love to, and we might walk over and talk with them, but we don't have any jurisdiction over people or the land.
I understand.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
whatever's
There's a
built there.
violation of the state statute.
Yep.
Yeah,
What the heck?
Yeah,
yeah, and those, I will say that's, that question's bigger than us, you know.
Right.
But,
this particular section would be a women and family shelter, and it
Women
would
and
sit
family.
right in front of our shelter, and then it would again dedicate all of our current shelters to men.
Right.
yeah.
And that's where
In that
the
phase.
shelter capacity increases come into play. To show you what those projected numbers are like, Mike, you could show the next slide.
Uh-huh. Can I just say this too, if you're dreaming, this is the kind of building that the people of Cleveland County, McLean County would say, I want to give you the full 10 million and I would love my father and mother's name to be on it. And that's the way that's probably gonna happen, and we're fortunate that people care about those kind of things. But we still don't build just because of money, we build in the protocols and the procedures of
Yes.
what we do. We're not a commercial, a business that could just get it done next. It takes a long time, we think through it. We not only want to build it, we wanna support it.
Yeah, and actually, let me double down on that. Is that, I will tell you the honest truth. We're not gonna be the fastest nonprofit that's gonna build something in your town. I'm just gonna be truthful with you. We're not. If you give me $1 million today, I'm not gonna break ground next month. The process of the Salvation Army is to ensure it doesn't even need to exist to begin with. And there is a process. In fact, yesterday, we've got the answer that we were wanting for this project from our headquarters, which is yes, it's called a program proposal that I have to submit and I have to present it, which I did yesterday. And that whole purpose of that is, that's great, you got money. Does it need to exist? And prove it to me. And so that's part of our process. So we're not gonna be the fastest person that's gonna say, let's get it going in the ground. Sometimes that can be not in our advantage, right? I mean, sometimes it isn't. But when we break ground, we have the confidence that we have the money in the bank and that we have actual scientific data and proof that this needs to happen. So that's our commitment to you, is that when we get to that point, we've done all of our due diligence. We've done everything to say, yes, we can, this is needed, and that we're ready to do this and meet that.
So based on the projections that you guys have with all of the permits and plating and everything already
Yeah.
completed, what is your proposed timeline for groundbreaking?
If-
and
right now, the two proposals, program proposal, that's internal, and then the property proposal, which is also an internal document. Those are being sent up, I should probably know by mid-January. The thing is, the only variable, unless someone like literally right now walked in the door and was like, I was looking for a way to spend money, you know, the only variable is just gonna be, okay, contractor, tell me the bottom dollar number, which right now that projection is probably between 1.62 million for phases 1 and 2. That's what we're looking at. So once I get that bottom line, here's the number I need to break ground, then I'm gonna go and look to see how much we've raised, how much money do we have in bank marked for this project, not for operations or anything else, but for this. And if those two reconcile, we could be talking February.
Okay, and so say we start in February, timeline to completion.
So I'm being told by the builder, 8 to 9 months. So we're looking at November, December, potentially be opening up around that time.
To get to this point, we've already spent $500,000 before we spend the 1.6.
Correct. The plans,
So
permit,
we,
this, that,
we,
this, that.
we put some money and time and thought into what
Yes.
we want to do.
We're very serious about it, yes, yeah.
Question?
Yeah, so phase 3. You probably have should cost. This should cost us something. Whatever, you know, it's estimates, your estimate should cost. Do you have, it's a feeling on your side. Do you have a feeling that you have donors that are capable of saying, oh, yeah,
For phase 3?
yeah,
What I have consistently said to the leadership, the major, and to the lieutenant, is that I have 1 or 2 donors in that category that I believe want to put a name on the building. But we have got to demonstrate success in putting this building up. But money with the Salvation Army is very different than a business or of any other nonprofit. We do have donors that have pocketbooks that we can appeal to, and they are in our mission statement and they want to do something. So can we make them do that? We need to present a strong case to do that, and that's what we do.
Yeah. And just phase 3 build, just this build, that's about a $10 million phase, you know, so that's the biggest
If we
ticket
did
item.
it soon, yeah. There's
Right.
also a piece of property at the end of our property
Yes.
that's tied up in legal issues.
legal
It has been
battles.
for a long time, but we would love to acquire that property.
We would love
Have
to acquire
attempted
that
to do that
property.
on more than one occasion,
Yes.
but it's pretty tied up legally, and that would give us the space to wrap around and do some other phases.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
so in that process of phase 1 and 2, when you know, we're doing heuristic here, when would, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
When does that come up, like halfway into phase 1 and 2, or when phase 1 and 2 are completely done?
Oh, or you're saying when we might do a look at a feasibility of
When
doing a
yeah,
3?
when you get the head nod for 3 from your big donors.
I'm a dreamer, so you don't want to talk to me. The glass is half full on this. I believe that we have the kind of donors, and I have names in my tongue, that would say, I see what you're doing, I'm ready to give you $10 million. That's not out of our ballpark. I run a team of people across both states that are very good at raising funds. So, you know, it's a possibility for us.
Yeah.
So we've got to demonstrate this building first. We want to help the situation in Cleveland County, McLean County with shelter. And we can do it at a very low cost, where most people cost a whole lot more to do it. We know what we can do, and we've proven it. So we're in the game. Again, we've been here 132 years. I think we're going to be here.
Let me, and also just say, wrap this up with you guys, 'cause I know you got other agenda items. But, this,
Oh, yes,
I'll
sir.
go back one more.
Yes, sir.
When the phase 3 is complete, this is what the campus will look like, phases 1, 2, and 3. So this is the 3rd phase right here, so that'll be that. Just kind of wanted to get a picture view, and then if you go to the next one, I think there's just kind of some renderings of what phase 3 would look like. So like that's what the street value, kind of the street corner view of what that will look like, which would be, quite honestly, would be some new construction in that area that will, because right now from Robinson, you can see our full campus, and they'll be able to kind of get a good clear look of new build, new construction in that neighborhood, which we obviously want to bring value to that community when we build. We want to bring value both on kind of corner look, but also in what we're doing as well.
We've designed it to look more residential so that it can complement that particular
Yes.
area.
Because that's a primarily residential area. Yep. And so let me just close off, and if we have questions, we're happy to answer them. But let me just say this, there's, well, I guess, yeah, I can mention the Adult Rehabilitation Center, because that is also a service that we provide as drug and alcohol rehabilitation. And so that's something that we regularly bridge and bring together for the people who are staying in our shelters, or anyone really who is looking for that service. But let me just say that we share the same heart that you do with the homeless population, those who are hungry. I think we can all collectively around the table say, yeah, we have a heart for that. I think we're all on board with that. And I want to make sure that we know that there are other nonprofits and agencies in this community doing amazing work, really good work. And we partner with them, and we talk to each other all the time. When there's something we can't do, we reach out to them and they say, yeah, we can do that. And then we send a family there. And there's sometimes things they can't do, and then they'll send them our way. Happens all the time. The Salve, we're not a silo. We want to be a part of the team. We want to be accessible, available, and we are. The good lieutenant here is in his office every day and putting in the hours of helping his community. But friends, I'm going to just tell you that, yes, it is true that the brand, the logo, the Salvation Army is certainly known. But we are as local as you guys. We live here, we live in this county, and the people we serve are right here. And so friends, if you need something, you want questions, if there's a service we can do, if we can help you, I mean, call us, man, we're there. I know the lieutenant will give you his cell phone number, you know? And we're with you, we're on your team, and we believe that together we can meet this need. So if you have any questions about the project or anything else at all, we're happy to answer that. But, yeah.
The Adult Rehabilitation Center is an 80-bed facility
Yes.
within 20 miles of here that is
Correct.
free. All services are free to all that enter, and we don't turn anybody away.
Yep.
But we take from this county to there
Yes.
if they want to be
Right.
in the drug and alcohol rehabilitation.
It's
It's
a
a
6 month
wonderful
to a
program.
1 year program, yeah.
Marilyn?
First, I definitely like anytime we can get rid of surface parking lots and do more street parking, so I like that.
Yeah.
And then 2 questions. The resource center that faces Porter, you say there were gonna be some renovations to that building and the current shelter building, or just the shelter building, or how?
Just the shelter building. We did talk about eventually painting the resource center to match. Because when we did acquire that in 2017, it got a complete remodel.
Yeah, we spent a lot of money on the inside. It's
Inside.
really nice, yeah.
Yeah, say anything that can be done on the side facing Porter
Right.
in the future.
Yeah. We've even talked to
that'd be
the art committee, how they do the art on the side, about maybe even doing like some Salvation Army history art
That'd be
facing where it's like a mural.
Yeah.
Whether that looks like the Salvation Army band coming in with covered wagons, something that kind of represents who we are and how long we've been here, something like that on that. Just
Yeah.
a little square where there's some place where we can take our shield down and put a nice little mural there instead.
Yeah, with the new Porter streetscape and sidewalks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could be an opportunity. And then the other part was just based on your experience, other than capacity, why are there people that don't stay at the Salvation Army? Is it a misconception about your rules or religious affiliation, or they don't think you'll take them in because you dress nice or something in military style uniforms?
Well, I dress like this because I'm in front of the mayor. You should see what I dress like. In the
Yeah.
So just that reason, I know capacity is a big one, but that's been a question, is it a higher barrier than our existing shelter? And on paper, it doesn't seem like it really is, but
Well,
people may have
Let me
a
answer-
misconception that it is, so
let
they
me
don't
answer
even
that
try.
question to based on experience. To the individual who's actually needing service, actually looking for shelter, they're coming. Like they're coming. Like there is no misconception. There is no. It literally is just going to be we ran out of space. Really, where that talking piece comes in are people typically who have never needed shelter, but they're just talking about nonprofits or just talking in general what they think or what they understand what a nonprofit is. And that's anyone, not just us, that's anyone. And so most of the misconception is really just coming from people who have never actually been to our building, actually walked into the building. But anyone that's actually needed something from us, they just show up, they just come in and
One thing
We
that
do.
we will see is that we are not a, no offense to the name Motel 6, but you can't come and say, I want to stay 2 nights, but I want to go party for 2 more nights. I'll be back. Save my room. We don't save rooms.
Right,
We
right,
have a policy that if you have stayed with us and you exited without a good reason, then you have to wait 60 days before you come back in.
60 days.
Yeah, and you
This
can
is an
only use
emergency
us
shelter.
twice a year, if you want to say it that way. You know, we're trying to bridge people into stability, not provide temporary motel room, so to speak. So we do have some policies there, and you'll find some people that they want to go do whatever they want to do on Friday and Saturday nights. Well, they can't come back to do that. We don't leave slots open. So
Now,
I hope
during
you
the-
can understand that. So don't go somewhere else and say, well, they just wouldn't take me. Well, you didn't stay to get, there's a rule there. Is that fair to say?
it's fair to say, and I think it comes again to capacity.
Yeah.
I mean, it really comes to capacity. It's like if we don't have the space to just be an open house.
Right.
Like there are people needing places to stay tonight, shelter over their head tonight, right? And so when someone decides to leave the program, we're gonna fill it, right? We're gonna put someone in there.
As long as
Yeah.
they are peacekeepers, they can be high, they can be drunk. As long as they're peaceful, they can be with us. No alcohol or drugs on the premises, but they can be with us.
Yeah.
So there's
I
a lot of
mean-
misnomers about every shelter. And
Yeah.
those of us that don't live in the world, I live in the world,
Yes.
we get our questions
Well,
answered.
and no joke, even in Oklahoma City where my office sits and we have the shelter, like there's 5 shelters within 4 blocks radius of our building. So there's 5 of us, all within 4 blocks. And like once a month, we all get together just to share each other's
Talk shop.
frustrations and just like resources and that, because there is a lot of misconception, but we all collectively want to do the same thing. We just want to help people. Our missions may be a little different. How we execute it may be a little different. But we all want to do the same thing.
One thing about shelter that I think is good is that the homeless, truly homeless, they understand if they see our emblem, whether it's in a car taking a hot meal out into this community, or they just say they know what they're gonna get from us. They know.
Yeah.
They know better than we know what they're gonna get. So that's just a question. I've recognized that hand again like that. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Councilmember Grant.
Thank you for going in depth, giving us the overview of your
Thank you for having us.
dream.
Yeah, this is, I mean, really, it is an honor. Thank you.
To Mayor Holman's point, I think I had heard different about your ID rule. Like you don't require it. Has that always been, or was that a recent change?
But we ask for it, but we don't require it. And we think it's the first step in removing barriers to get you to stability is helping you get that. But we wouldn't say, well, you don't have one, you can't spend the night. How could we help them?
Because in fact, one of the services that we provide anyone in our shelter is to get their ID.
We give a voucher, they come down to Grace
Yeah.
Street Tag Agency and get their IDs that way.
Right. So you don't need an active valid ID to stay in the shelter. If you don't have one, let us help you get one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you give us a name, we do look up for sex offender because of the
Yes.
population of children. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm new to this year, I really am. So I've always wondered low barrier, because I keep hearing different definition of low barrier. No, so what is the definition of low barrier? What is
Depends
there
on what you
official
want it to be.
definition?
There's no barriers and there's low barriers
And there's
and there's high barriers. We've been called everything.
Yeah, that's true.
But what is it?
Depends on who you ask, I suppose.
What is the definition of a low barrier sale? I mean, where do you go? That's it.
Well, the lowest barrier is, we don't care if you have a gun or alcohol or that you're angry,
That'd be
or
no barrier.
you just come in and grab you a bed.
Yeah,
No
but
barrier.
we have rules.
Stay as long
can't
as you
have-
want or leave and come back.
Can't
I
have
don't know
weapons.
anybody that does that. That's the lowest barrier.
Right.
Yeah.
You
So,
can't have
like-
weapons. We do have a metal detector that everybody walks through, and we do go through bags.
Right.
Now, if you're coming in for dinner, they just take your bag, they put it off to the side, you go sit down, you eat dinner, and there's no questions asked. You grab your bag and you leave. We don't go through your bag. But if you're staying on premises, we do go through the bags because we don't want somebody slipping a handgun or anything in there. Sometimes, occasionally, people will bring in mace and they'll use it on somebody, and that's how you get yourself exited. Also, is when you violate somebody else's space. And those are the things people will be exited for violating somebody else in that space.
And to help to answer that question, again, I'm coming from the city, even an Oklahoma City perspective, where we have 4 or 5 shelters right there. And one of them is a no barrier shelter, who I know very well. And so like the difference between, say, like even our shelter and a no barrier is just that there's no barrier. I mean, you can just walk in. There is no questions asked. There's no proof of anything. You do walk through security there, so there is a security thing. You walk in, and I mean, you could be drunk, you could be whatever, right? And so you go in, and I'm going to tell you that I know that shelter well, and I mean, it takes very special people to do that. It does. And I'm not even going to come up here and say that that isn't something needed, because those guys need shelter too, right? And so, but it takes now, you're having to increase high levels of security to make sure that that's a safe environment.
Yeah, I guess imagine the risk.
Because it's a very high-risk facility, and they know that, but that's what they prepare themselves for. So a lot of security, high risk. They try to mitigate it as much as possible, but that comes with the territory. And you have people like us, which would be low barrier. Now, low barrier just means that very minimum requirements, like we don't require a ID or anything. But when you enter in, we do have, okay, you can't be intoxicated, you can't be, high, you can't be, like we have a minimum thing of just being in the community in what you're engaging in, because we take families. So we have families and kids, and so because of that, we have a low barrier, meaning here's our basic requirements to say to come in. But those are usually just intoxication, drugs, alcohol, that sort of thing. But there is no ID barrier, because one of our services there, you don't have an ID, we'll help you get an ID. That's something that we do. But that'd be a low barrier example. Higher barrier means that we have a higher, stricter intake process. We need identification, here's our rules, here's this. Like, it's just, the more stuff you add to the requirement to be in the shelter makes you a higher barrier. So if you have like 2 or 3 minimum things, you're a low barrier. But if you're going 5, 6, 7 requirements to be in this facility, that's a high barrier. And then a no is just walk in through the security guard, or through the metal detector. That's a no
I
barrier.
think for us, one
Yeah.
thing that you can count on is, these are the people that we love. We're not trying to keep them out.
No,
We're
no.
trying to bring them to a better place in life. So we really want everybody we can to come in off the street. Those that are in shelter, we know that they're not perpetrating on the community if they're with us at night. And so anybody that can come in, they're safer in, and we want them in.
Yes.
Now, if we have a barrier and you want to call it high or low, we want them in, but not at any cost of safety to other people or children like that.
Yeah.
I just have one more plug. Here in Oklahoma City,
Yeah.
Continuum of Care, they have a continuum, you're in that,
We
you're
do.
one of the partners.
Yep.
Do you guys have software to understand where you're at with your partners?
Yes. So we have software that keeps us, we know how many beds are open in every shelter. So we know how many beds are open, and we know who's available, So there is software that we all work together, and then we get together once a month. And then
What's the software called?
oh gosh.
Is it commercial?
Oh, it would be commercial, yeah. I'd have to dive into that, because my team uses it every day. But we're a part of that system. Yeah, in Oklahoma City, that is. Yeah.
Does it make you more effective, efficient?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how you use it, right? So, and if people are choosing to use it, I mean, you could choose not to use it, right? So the ones who are choosing to use it and to be that, now, in Oklahoma City, there are, if you're receiving funding from the city in any way, then there's gonna be a requirement to use the software, right? To be a part of that. But there, and it's not just for shelter, but it's also for rent assistance, utility assistance. There, we can see if someone wants to say, apply for rent or utility at nonprofit A, we can see the last time that person, like, so we're all communicating with each other. And then actually, one thing they just started in Oklahoma City, just thought, throw it out here, is they did what's called embedded caseworkers or case management in Oklahoma City. We have one at the Salvation Army. So we actually have a case worker from Catholic Charities that actually offices in our building. And so if someone comes into the Salvation Army and maybe we can't meet that need, the actual case manager from another nonprofit, in this case Catholic Charities, is actually in the same building. And so they can take a case meeting with that person right then and there, but it's in the same building. And so there's about 5 or 6 of us nonprofits that kind of all went in on this. So there's a different, like, embedded caseworker in each different ones trying to close the gap. Yeah.
In Cleveland County, we also have Trinity Legal that comes once a month.
Yep.
And they give free services. It's a group of attorneys in your area that give free services to the homeless or the poor. Doesn't matter. We set up appointments and they come once a month to our facility and they help them move through the system at no charge.
Weekly, we have a Better Way meets in our office. I'm not sure who funds them, but they meet in our office on Mondays and Fridays. So.
Thank y'all. I have a pre-developed.
Thank you for the good questions.
I got one more about legal aid. So,
Gentlemen, Councilman Bruce, if you can ask after the meeting, we try to keep this
well, I think it's
meeting to
important,
about
I
an
think it's
hour.
important that you understand, you know some of this stuff, because I don't, but I got a question about as far as legal aid. Does OU help you guys with legal aid?
No, we are not legal aid. It's Trinity. It's a nonprofit that sends licensed attorneys to us. It's not legal aid. And it's at no cost to us or to the client.
Okay.
It's not legal aid. Legal aid, yeah. We handle a multitude of legal issues for people, free of charge.
Okay.
Yeah. Good questions.
Thank
Thank you for the time.
Thank you guys.
Thank you all.
And very
Thank you.
best of luck on your fundraising for the
Well,
Faces and
Thank you.
Dreams.
I can't wait to come back and say, here's the new